request to be able to share my screen.
All right. Request accepted.
Perfect. I hate asking this really cliche question, but
This
can you
meeting
see?
is being recorded.
Sorry, say that one more time.
I hate asking this very cliche question, but can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yes.
Great.
A fair question to ask. It's crazy just how many, this is all we all do, these online meetings now, and just every time the pressure's on, something goes wrong.
Exactly.
We'll wait for people to trickle in let's do one more minute. We'll start at 11:02. I'll just briefly intro you, but I'll let you intro yourself, and then we'll kick things off. The whole thing will be recorded, and we'll share it with those who weren't able to make it.
Beautiful.
Where are you
Also,
based out of again, Sunny?
sorry?
Where are you based out of again?
I am in Southern California, in
Oh,
Orange County.
nice. We're close by.
Yeah, you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah, Carlsbad area. Yeah.
Perfect. Evan, it's great to see you. I love seeing familiar faces. It's always a nice surprise.
All right. All right. Okay, now it's 11:02. Cool. So, I guess some of you do know Sunny. We met through, believe it or not, LinkedIn. A lot of people recommended just her Sunny and her workshop, among other things, the services she provides. And I'm a big proponent of using LinkedIn to broaden your reach and have sort of a professional um storefront, so to speak, other than your website. So I'm glad that she's decided to speak with everybody here. I'm excited to learn. I will let her do her own intro because she can tell her story better than I can. But thank you, Sunny, for joining, and I'll pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, everyone. It's really great to see you all, see some familiar faces. Some of you are meeting for the first time. I just wanted to say hi and thank you for coming today. This session is really designed for you who want to really use LinkedIn intentionally to grow your network and attract the right opportunities by making authentic relationships with that network. So that really matters because LinkedIn really has become the new digital resume. It's often how people really have a first impression of you. So I do want to share some tips on mistakes that a lot of lawyers make when it comes to their LinkedIn profile. And I really want to just make sure your profile is polished, it looks crisp and clean. So when people actually come to check you out, you really leave a strong and lasting impression. And I also want to just commend you for showing up today because it shows that you're willing to make that time investment in growing your professional brand. So kudos to you. All right, so just a little bit of background about me and why you should even listen to me in the first place. So I'm not a marketer by background. I practiced tax and fund formation law for about 6 years. I practiced at Davis Polk, Gunderson, and most recently at a private equity firm named Pathway Capital. And last year, I just decided to give myself a break to pursue whatever interested me. And I kind of fell into writing. I always loved writing. And I wrote my first post on LinkedIn for fun. And that post got a lot of traction. 60,000 people read it. And a lot of them resonated with it and reached out to me. So I just continued writing. And since then, I've just been writing once or twice a week. And I've been very lucky to have over 1 million people see my content so far. And it's just me sharing my own career journey, some of the things I'm learning or conferences I'm going to. And because so many people have actually seen my content, opportunities just came to me very organically. I had a lot of senior executives, founders, and a lot of lawyers reach out to me and DM me to ask, hey, I actually want to start writing on LinkedIn too. Like, how do I do that? So I actually just started helping them for free. I helped them kind of coach on how to write in a way that really works for LinkedIn. And what opportunities came for them was pretty amazing. I worked with big law partners, solo practitioners, and in-house counsel, and they've had clients reach out to them, even Fortune 500 GCs, start conversations with them. They became recognized by leaders in their industry as well as within their firm for business development efforts. they got featured at Law 360 and Bloomberg Law, and they were just getting inbound clients and job offers through LinkedIn. So what I'm sharing with you today, they're not gimmicks or tricks, they actually work. And the first thing I really tell my clients to do if they want to attract opportunities like this is optimize their profile. So you really just want to make sure that your profile really speaks to your target audience. Maybe if you're looking for a job, you want to speak to the people who are hiring decision makers. If you are looking for new clients, you want to speak to executives and GCs. So based on whoever is visiting your profile, you really want it to resonate with them and reach out with that connection request. So here are some of the most common mistakes that lawyers make and things that you can optimize to really make your profile memorable and start building that trust. So these are some of the most common headlines I see from lawyers, attorney, legal counsel, and I think they fall flat because when you say attorney or legal counsel, they don't really tell me anything about what you do or who you help. And a lot of lawyers don't understand that headlines follow you everywhere on LinkedIn. You know, every time you comment or write a post or message someone, it even shows up in search. So when you actually take the time to optimize your headline, you're going to become so much easier to find and also to prompt people to reach out with a connection request. And so how would you do that? I have a couple options here based on your tolerance of how, how specific or how broad you want to be. So the first example is practice area attorney at firm name. So this is the most straightforward template. It could be like IP litigation partner at K&E. This is, and then if you have like a degree, then you can add that as well. So if you're maybe in school or you want to emphasize which undergrad or law school you attended, you can do that. But this is like the most typical sort of headline that you can use. And it's great because even if you just add your practice area, you become much more searchable on LinkedIn. And also, if you are an associate at a firm, then I definitely recommend adding attorney instead of associate, because especially if you're trying to build thought leadership, it does carry more weight to put attorney. If you're a partner or counsel at a firm, then just include those titles because they actually do carry weight. Another example is practice area attorney advising ideal client on issue. So this is much more descriptive and client facing. So if you're at a boutique firm or maybe you're a solo practitioner, then this can really communicate who you help and what you do. So you're instantly more memorable to clients, especially if they're looking for a lawyer who does that type of work. Another one is title with legal specialty at company. So this is a really great in-house format because it's very crisp, it's clear, and it's aligned with how in-house lawyers typically describe themselves. And it quickly shows your title and your specialty, and which keeps it very professional and concise. So if you want to save time in drafting your headline, just paste your current bio or resume into ChatGPT and ask it to generate maybe 10 different headline options using one or all of these templates and see which one actually speaks to you the most. All right, now I want to talk about profile photo because whether we like it or not, they matter. And it often really is the first thing people see. And so it immediately shapes how trustworthy and credible you come off as. So I still see a lot of profiles where people don't have any photo, and that really hurts your first impression because we live in a world of a lot of fake accounts, and when someone gets a connection request or even sees a LinkedIn profile with no photo, our alarm bells are going off. Like, is this a real person? And it does feel a little unsettling. So you definitely want to have a photo. And then also another thing is a lot of people have like pixelated photos, which might seem like a very small thing, but it's so easy to fix and to make it crisp so people can really see that you care about how you're being perceived. And then there's also the cropped photo where someone's hand is over your shoulder. I see a lot of wedding photos like this used for LinkedIn. So that kind of makes your LinkedIn profile seem like it's an afterthought. So that's something that you want to watch out for, something that's really clean and makes you presentable and professional. Some other things to keep in mind is that zoom matters. So in the second photo, his face is barely visible, and LinkedIn, when they go to your profile, they may be able to see your face pretty clearly, but when you comment or send a DM, it's going to come out very, very small. So you really want to zoom in on your face because that really helps establish a connection with the person who's checking you out. And you want to dress for your audience. So the first two photos look very professional and polished. It's going to be great if you work with more institutional clients. At my previous firm at Davis Polk, this would have been a great attire. The third photo is more relaxed, right? So if you work in tech or you service startups, this kind of attire may be more appropriate. So I was at Gunderson, so attire like this might work better for a startup firm like Gunderson. And lastly, facial expression also matters. So warm and approachable photos work really well on LinkedIn. You may want to do a serious photo like the last photo that you see if that's the audience that you're going for. Maybe you're a litigator and that kind of serious look does amplify your presence, and that's the type of client that you want to work with. So the point is, you just want to be very intentional based on what audience it is that you're trying to target. Okay, now I want to talk about background banners. So let's say you've done the hard part. Someone saw your content, they liked you enough to come check you out, and then they see this blank banner. Well, I think that's a really big missed opportunity because your banner can serve as very prime real estate. It's the first thing that people see, and it can be a way to establish a connection or your credibility. So what are some of the things that you can actually include in your banner? So a couple easy options is your logo. If you have a firm with, a logo in your practice areas, then that's one thing that you can list. Perhaps a photo of you on stage or speaking on a panel. That helps you establish your credibility and kind of signals your thought leadership or authority in your practice area. It could be as simple as an image of your city skyline or a well-known landmark where people make the connection like, oh, that person is from that city. I used to live there. It's like a conversation starter. So the point is, having a banner versus not having one is really, really noticeable. And I've actually made a set of banners that you can use that are pretty generic. They have some major skylines and things like that that you can use as a placeholder while you try to think about what banner would be the most strategic for you. So I will share that set of banners with you after the session. All right, this is one setting that I think is really helpful on LinkedIn. So by default, LinkedIn prioritizes connections. So that is the default setting, which means that someone has to send you a connection request and then you have to accept it before you consistently see each other's posts. But one way you can start really growing your audience is to turn on the follower setting. So that matters because followers can see your content without sending a connection request. And people are shy, so it does feel like a lower commitment action to turn on the follower setting and have people choose to follow you instead of reaching out with a connection request. They can still reach out with a connection request even if you have the follower setting on, but it gives you that option to follow also. That's also going to help you really grow your reach over time because a lot of people are going to be inclined to follow you, especially if you write very good, valuable content on the platform. Another thing is, whereas your connection, it caps out at 500, so that is all you're going to see. It's just going to see 500 plus connections. Your real follower count is actually visible. So if you have more than 500, it's going to show the exact follower count. So that's actually very helpful because it helps you build your credibility and authority. Like Evan, he has a lot of followers. So when people go to his profile and check him out, they're going to see that and be like, oh, this person is actually a thought leader in this practice area. So it establishes that credibility very quickly, which is very helpful. And I'm also going to include instructions on how to turn the setting on in the resource guide, so be on the lookout for that. And next is your About Me section. So the first 4 lines of your About Me section are all people are going to see before they have to click See More to see the full summary. And so it's very important to use those first 65 or so words, which is the first 4 lines, to really demonstrate what your impact is, how you add value, and what your awards and recognitions have been in the past to establish your credibility. So you really want to make those 4 lines count. So what can you actually include? First, start with your practice area, who you advise, and also include really concrete metrics like years of experience, number of cases you have handled, any major deals without naming clients, as well as any awards or recognitions. So if that all fits into your first 4 lines, people are going to be like, oh, this person's legit. I want to connect with them. And if you want to use a template that's really easy, so you don't have to overthink it, I drafted one for you. You can just pop in this template and say, hey, ChatGPT or Cloud, write a about me section with 65 words or less using this template, using my bio, and paste in your bio or resume. It's going to give you a pretty good template to start with, and all you have to do is refine it instead of starting from scratch. And experience sections. So this is where you list your titles and what you've done within each of those roles. And a lot of lawyers actually just list their title and then their time period of where they worked. But it's really a chance for you to demonstrate what your impact has been in each of those roles. So instead of just listing the title, I would recommend that you actually also list your outcomes. So a lot of people say reviewed contracts. That's not super impactful. What you can say is negotiated $50 million in vendor deals. That is like people like numbers, it breaks up the text, but it also shows the value added in your prior role. Also, use industry terms to help your audience actually understand you speak their lingo. This is especially important if you're looking for a particular role. If you have specific technical terms that really signal your expertise in that practice area, kind of fold that into your experience as well and show you've done that or have interacted with that concept. And you also want to keep it concise. So 2 to 3 lines per role is ideal because, again, they have to click see more to see the entire description. So you want to use the first 2 or 3 lines to really hone in on the most impactful description that you can provide about that previous role to give your audience a really quick glimpse of the value that you can bring for them as well. And because we're lawyers, we have to keep some ethical considerations in mind. So one thing that I want to emphasize is you don't want to make any promises or guarantees or include anything that can be construed as false or misleading information. So no language implying certain outcomes. We always win cases. I know all of you are sophisticated, so you're not going to do this, but I do have to put it in there just as a precaution. Also, New York attorneys. There is a opinion that was issued by the New York City Lawyers Association that says any subjective statements about your areas of practice or skills, or even including client testimonials, they can constitute advertising, in which case you have to put in a disclosure that it is advertising. So that is one more thing that you want to actually keep in mind. So now you have a really great profile. All of these changes, if you just spend, I think it takes 15 minutes using these templates to really up your profile game, you're going to have a very polished profile. So how do you actually get people to come check you out and look at your profile? That is the next step. And you really want to give people a reason to come check out your expertise and reach out to you for opportunities. And the best way to do that is to actually show up on LinkedIn through comments, through writing DMs, and also posting. So there may be some hesitation around this because we're not taught as lawyers on how to market ourselves or put ourselves out there. That is not something that we learn in law school and maybe learn on a very limited basis, even at firms or within our corporate organizations. So the thing is, there's a lot of smart and capable lawyers out there, and that is why a lot of us get kind of stuck applying or chasing opportunities. But there are lawyers who are building visibility on LinkedIn and getting opportunities inbound just very naturally. And they realize that law is a people business. So when you actually want to work with someone, you want to like them and trust them. And that applies to law as well. People want to work with lawyers that they like, remember, and trust. So if you actually, show up and put yourselves out there, you give people a reason to remember that you exist and reach out to you when they have that right opportunity. So, what do those opportunities actually look like? I want to show you because these are not hypotheticals. They're actually very much real, and I've seen them for my clients as well as other lawyers that I've interacted with on the platform. They're getting invited to speak on panels or publications. So Law 360, Bloomberg Law, whenever they have a hot topic that they want some sort of expertise on or they want to consult a lawyer on, they actually go into LinkedIn and search that topic within the search box. So if your post actually pops up, they're going to reach out to you. This actually happened for one of the lawyers who came to my course. She wrote about a very hot show on HBO and how it relates to trademark law, and she was invited to be featured on Law 360. So this happens. You are approached by clients who already know and trust you. So if you've been writing especially educational posts that really provide value to clients of questions that they're already thinking about, they're going to remember you when they come up with that question or something that's tangentially related to that question. And you're going to be the first person that they remember. This happens all the time for lawyers. Another great thing, especially for introverts like myself, you get to walk into networking networking events and you don't have to introduce yourself. I'm so used to kind of like squeezing in with my drink and being awkward and waiting for my turn to say hi. But people actually come up to you. Like people have come up to me, my clients, saying, "Hey, I actually read your LinkedIn content. I was thinking about meeting you and I'm like so excited that we can meet in person." That really changes the conversation because it's not a cold conversation anymore. It's warm, and that's like a totally different way to start networking. They're also being offered to apply for roles without having to apply themselves. They're saying, "Hey, we actually have this role open. We saw you write pretty often on this topic. Would you like to apply?" And they're being visible within, they're becoming visible within and outside their organization because they are building visibility not only for themselves and the firms. So all of these transformations are actually kind of surface level. I think the biggest transformation is that you realize that you are the brand and you are the person that people want to work with because of how you think, how you portray yourself, and who you are as a person. And that's huge because we have much more control over our career, and that autonomy doesn't, happen for a lot of us. So that sense of control, I think, is the most defining factor in actually showing up on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is great because over a billion users are on the platform, and all of you, you're here because you have a profile and you have an audience already that you can start from. All you have to do is just start showing up. And thankfully, only 1% actually post on the platform. That's 200 million in the USA, and only 1% are posting content. And even fewer percentage are actually posting good content. So compare that to 67% on Instagram who post very often. So the bar to entry is really low for LinkedIn and the opportunity is really high. And when you write one good post, you can reach thousands of people at once. I know Evan has written posts where he had like hundreds of thousands of views. So you can really build trust at scale. And that is really hard to do over meeting each person for coffee at networking events. You have to attend like 100 events to get to thousands of people. So you're reaching all these people at once. So as long as you do it consistently, you're really going to start to see impact. And then just, it's very overwhelming to write posts, to send DMs all from scratch. You have to kind of spin your wheels to figure it out. This is why I actually made the course LinkedIn Resonance Guide for Lawyers. It's a digital course and it includes templates and curated examples from lawyers who have used the post and DM templates to actually get visibility for themselves and to attract the opportunities that we talked about earlier. And it gives you a very clear roadmap on how to actually find the clients or the GCs that you want to connect with to grow a meaningful relationship with them. And a step-by-step weekly system because all of you are very busy. You don't have time to overthink. And so I give you a system that you can implement on a weekly basis. And the course is actually available now for 300, but because you're at today's session, you can use the code HeyCounsel to take $100 off. And that code expires tonight at midnight. And I just really want to see you succeed on LinkedIn. I know a lot of these courses are very conceptual and fluffy, but these are really, really actionable steps that you can implement to really start building your audience and start getting opportunities like this for yourself. So if that hasn't convinced you, over 150 lawyers have actually gone through it so far and given 5-star reviews. So I hope you really consider it. I think it could be a very worthwhile investment if you're very serious about growing your LinkedIn presence and getting these opportunities your way. So I'll stop there and then answer your questions. Oh, wow, we already have so many questions in the chat. Should I start with those?
Yeah, let's work. By the way, thank you so much for this.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
problem.
I think I've seen probably like 5 or 6 just presentations about LinkedIn and all that stuff, and I have to say, like, this one was just packed of like really
Oh,
valuable information. So blown away by you and this. And I already know things I absolutely have to do following this. So thank you. Yeah, let's start. Let's start with Taylor. I'm not sure what you meant by how do you do that, although it might have been for the changing your
That was for the follower thing,
yeah.
but sounds like we've got resources for that, and I think I maybe found it anyway. But my other question is more about so like I have my personal page. I'm a solo. I have my business page.
yeah.
like if I write a blog, I tend to post it on the business page and then reshare it through my personal. But is that like doing a disservice? Does it make more sense to build my personal page and not worry about the business page? Like, what's your take on that?
Taylor, that is such a great question, and I'm so glad you brought that up. This is one of the things that a lot of people I think are kind of exploring now, and it works really well. I definitely think you should start posting on your personal page. Like when we just even think about our feed and what content we pay attention to when we read LinkedIn, it's never the posts from companies, right? It's almost always the posts from people. And I know this for a fact. I saw the same post posted on a company page and on the lawyer's page, like the same post. And the company page has 70,000 followers. The lawyer had 1,000 followers, but the engagement that the lawyer got on his page was 10 times more than what the company page got. So definitely have that post on your personal page and then have your company actually repost it and say, here's our lawyer Taylor sharing XYZ about this new regulation. And that's like another way for people who follow your company page to maybe check it out, but they're definitely going to resonate more when it's coming from you as a person. So great question.
Thanks.
No problem. Let's see. So, oh yeah, hopefully, Evan, I'm going to show you the instructions on how to turn on your follower number so you can implement that for yourself. Oh, great. Lewis can confirm that journalists will find them on LinkedIn. It's happened to me with World Trademark Review a handful of times. That's fantastic. I love seeing that. Yeah, apparently Law 360, Bloomberg Law, all these major publications do the same thing. I answered Taylor's question. Okay, Valentina said, an issue I encounter often is that my content gets flagged as political. I'm not saying it isn't warranted. Much of it has a political component, but that is inherent to the work I do and my identity. How can I improve my visibility with this in mind? That is a really good question as well, Valentina. I definitely have seen more political content on LinkedIn, especially with the new administration. I think taking specific actions against very specific law firms. So I do think that, you know, if it is really inherent to the work you do, I'm not sure what practice area you are, but if it is part of your identity as a lawyer and the type of practice area and clients you observe, I think you just kind of lean into that as long as you're comfortable with putting out political posts. And it might be divisive at times because not everyone's going to agree with you. But if that is really strong to you, then you're going to have more loyal people who resonate with that and become people who really want to follow you for that kind of specific content. So you can still have visibility. You may not get as broad of an audience because, you know, political content does kind of divide people, but you may have a more loyal audience, maybe a smaller following, but people who really resonate with what you're writing. So it's a different strategy, but if that is really critical to your identity, then it just comes with the territory, I think. I think I answered all the questions in the chat at least. But are there any other questions that I can answer? I'm happy to stay on for a little longer if there's anything else that people are wondering. Okay. If not, please add me on LinkedIn. I have my QR code right here. You can also generate a QR code for yourself if you ever want to go to networking events and not have to do that whole dance of looking for each other's name. You can generate a QR code in your LinkedIn mobile app. So yeah, please feel free to add me on LinkedIn and connect with me. I'd love to stay in touch and answer questions that you have.
And I'll share whatever information, Sunny, that you want me to share within our Slack group. So if there's like a kind of like a recap or blurb or materials you want to share, I'll also send you the emails of people who joined today so that you can just follow whatever materials you want directly. So
okay, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, if you could share the contact, then I can share that resource guide. But thank you so much for everyone for attending, and I hope this was helpful. Please connect with me, and I love to stay in touch over LinkedIn. So have a great rest of your day, guys.
Thank you.
so much, Sunny.
All right,
Thank you, Sunny.
bye. Thanks for the hearts, Taylor.